this life is too short for you not to want to live a life of purpose. So what have you been called to do? What have you been created to do? Whose life do you think you need to impact? The longer you wait to impact those lives, the further it is that you are from who you are called to be.
Hello, and welcome to the Connect podcast. This show is all about helping you connect to your soul's calling so you can take action on it. Because the sweetest success is a blend of discovering your purpose with the inner drive to bring it to life. I'm Sheila Botello, health coach, lifestyle entrepreneur, and mom of two, best known for my online wellness programs, mentoring, and self-love passion. Listen in for inspiring interviews, solo chats, and Q&A sessions that will move you past overwhelm towards what lights you up. Stop accepting good enough and go for your version of great in your health, business, and relationships. Let's get started. Tosin John is a wife, mom of 3 boys, and a multi-passionate business strategist. She was born and raised in Nigeria and currently lives in Essex in the UK. Her drive has been honed from over a decade working in strategic business and project management and running multiple successful businesses, including real estate, the local post office, and convenience retail. Tosin is the founder of Tangel Business School. Her vision is to build a community of people who desire to unleash their purpose and passion to create profitable businesses. We had such a rich conversation. I can't wait for you to meet and learn from her. Enjoy. Hi, Tosin.
Hello, Sheila.
I am so grateful that you have chosen to come on the show. I'm so excited to have you on.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm truly, truly grateful.
I came across your profile last year, and I love to scroll through Instagram for motivational things that are posted, whether they're quotes or photos, and women, especially women, who are doing things that are really inspirational in the world. And so I kept seeing yours come up over and over, and then I'd share some, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I need to talk to this woman. And so I'm so glad that we were able to get a time that suited us, because I know you're over in the UK and I'm over here in Canada.
Absolutely.
So, but it's actually pretty easy to coordinate our time because everyone's working from home.
Yeah, that's true. Thanks to COVID.
Yes, there are some silver linings with that for sure. I'd love to start with, where were you born and raised, and where are you living now?
I was born and raised in Lagos, in Nigeria, western part of Africa. And I moved to United Kingdom in 2004 after I finished my university studies. And I've since been living here for 16 years now. So it's been my home now.
Beautiful. And what part of the UK are you in?
I live in Raynham in Essex.
I would love to know, based on you being born in one place and then transplanting yourself to another, is there a special childhood memory that pops up for you that kind of grounds you as you're going about your day-to-day life?
I think what I would say is the sort of training I've had as a little girl back home in Nigeria, because the way we were trained back there, you were taught to respect values. We're quite religious. So it does instill in you a sort of behavior that really has helped me as I went through life, moving to a very, very different part of what I'm used to. So, but the sort of training I've had as a little girl has really helped to shape the way as I gone forward with things. So it's helped me to, and the sort of training we had as well, as because Nigeria is an English speaking country, so we do speak English a lot. So that part I didn't have to struggle with, so which was quite good. And most of our studies back home is based on the British education. So most of what I did was able to really help me to settle in here quite easily.
What brought you from Nigeria to the UK?
Yeah, my mom has always lived here. So whilst I was back in Nigeria, I've lived with my elder sister. So she practically brought me up. And when I finished my university in Nigeria, I thought it was actually time for me to explore new areas, because there was nothing nothing else. I've done everything. I've done my secondary level. I've done my university. And now I wanted to, to come back here to join my mom and then find greener pastures. That's the way we say back home. To see what
Beautiful.
Opportunities lie ahead.
I understand you are a multi-passionate businesswoman and you have a number of businesses that you're involved in, including your very own entrepreneurial business school that you've launched, and you have master classes and things as well. What drew you into the business world?
When I started my journey into working, I've always had this passion about wanting to always work for myself, because I knew I had one thing. If I had to, when I was working in the 9-to-5 job, I'm someone that could get there for 7 and I could leave there for 8 p.m., even though I needed to leave 5 p.m. So I always gave more than the time that was required of me. And it's still the same effort I put into my business. So I always overworked. So I knew eventually that is not how I want my life to go, working for other people, putting in more than they needed of me. So I knew I had that passion and I was going to eventually work for myself. So it's that drive. So even whilst I was working in various offices, every time I went through research, because I did project management, I did a lot of things. Every time I find any information relating to business, how to start up, how to run businesses, I will always save that information for the time I know one day is going to come. I'm going to have to leave this. I'm going to be working for myself. So it's always been there somehow.
Oh, that's amazing. It's like you just always knew and you were educating yourself, even after you had educated yourself formally. Like, what was your degree in school? What did you go to university for?
I did computer science as my undergraduate. And then when I finished the undergraduate, I came to UK to study my master's. And that's when I did the strategic business in IT. So that's where the business strategy comes in.
You are so streamlined in that you just know exactly what it is that you are passionate about. Oh, absolutely. For sure. And what I love is you are a lifelong learner. Many people leave school and it's like, oh, I don't have to pick up another book. And yet here you are still growing and now starting your own school.
Yeah. And that is even making me read more, research more, wanting to know more how I can, one, be a better entrepreneur, because I run several businesses. So I can, always add to what I have to improve the business, and also use the same experience, the same learning to help other people that wants to start and guide them on the right path.
Excellent. So tell me more about some of your other businesses where your practical hands-on experience has been.
When we started our entrepreneurial journey, I was pregnant with my second son. And I knew, okay, once I go on maternity leave, this is it. This is going to be the point where I jump off the 9-to-5 train and I'm going to launch into our business. So we saved up everything we had. And then my husband's passion has always been in real estate. So we said we will start from there, because I'm into interior design. I did training. I love interior design. I did actually take the course. I did do that. So I said I will be taking care of everything that has to do with property interiors. So we started from there. We took up a premise and we launched from there. And that was 2011. And we've not looked back. And once we found out that once we start with one avenue to start working for ourselves, several opportunities started to show up. So every time, and then we added cleaning services to our business, and then we added cargo and freight to Nigeria, and we were doing everything that we needed to do just to make sure that there was money coming in, because there was no looking back. And we had resigned from after the maternity leave, I'd resigned from my job. I'm like, I'm not coming back. I'm doing something else now. So as opportunities started coming up, it made us to start to define and put structure into what we do. How can we make sure that these businesses that we are taking on, because we're running like 5 different businesses now. Once we had the premise, we had 5 different things we were actually doing, together. So we said, how can we make sure we are putting our time on the things that will move the business forward? And we started dropping the ones that were taking more of like the cleaning services. we started to drop certain services and to take on the ones that we had to work less and you earn more, as opposed to working more and earning less. So that's the way has been helped us to refine a lot of things so far.
Sometimes you just don't know what is going to work until you're in it.
You're actually in it. That is gospel truth. I tell you, yeah, you might not even know where something will lead you. And that's what I always, say to people when I meet them and we have a strategy discussion about how they want to take on the entrepreneurial journey. I often say this: you do not need to wait for the bit that is actually your passion. Because when I started, real estate wasn't my passion, but interior was my passion. But we were doing more of the real estate than the interior. But what I find is this: from there, I started to notice, okay, even though I've got passion for interior design, but it's not something I want to pursue a long time. I think I enjoy interior design now for myself. So the passion does not need to become a business. Now I just do interior for my own passion. It's not a business I earn money from. So a lot of people get stuck on wanting to just follow the passion, whereas the passion might not become a passion that you actually earn money from. It's just something that you enjoy for your own, for passion's sake. So that's where we need to draw the line about just starting what actually brings in the money, and things begin to take shape as you go along. Like, because I did business school training with Marifolio, and she's always saying clarity comes from engagement, not thought. So if you keep thinking about what passion you want to pursue and you're not really in it, you may find out by the time you spend 1 year in that passion, it may not become as passionate as you actually thought it was going to be.
Absolutely. I love that you took B School. I can see it now. It totally makes sense from everything that you put out. It's just so beautiful. And I also love what you said about put your energy into your passion. Just do it for not always needing a return on your investment.
Absolutely true.
Because that fills up your soul. And do you find that when you're working on a passion project that you have no expectation of reward from, you get that inner reward and then you get new ideas, connections, creativity that fuels your other businesses?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because what I find is this: when I work from a place of passion, I tend to expend more time and I'm not looking at, okay, what reward am I going to get from this? Because I'm not even worrying about the money. I'm not worrying about the time. I'm not worrying about anything. I'm just, I just love to do this. I don't mind even if I'm doing it for free. I don't mind if people see this, if people reward me, because this is coming from a heart of love towards that particular thing. And it makes me to do the best for it instead of wanting to just attach monetary value to that particular thing I'm doing.
Well, I can tell that the work in entrepreneurial business and helping others to streamline their businesses and give them the inspiration and motivation and tactical strategies for their businesses, I can tell that's a passion for you, because
it is.
That's where there's so much inspiration you put out there. There's a couple of quotes that have popped up that I tagged and I look back at sometimes. And one of them is, you said, skilled workers are always in demand.
Absolutely.
And you are all about honing the skill. And the other one was, the greatest crime we can commit against ourselves is going to bed without a dream and waking up without a purpose. This really got me. And I can tell now, looking back, you always had a dream. You wanted to run something yourself, have your own business, and here you are doing it. Is that a quote somebody shared with you once, or is it something that you just have uncovered in your life?
It's something that I think I watched Louis House. I think he had a very little clip about wanting to, be a person of purpose. And I sat down, I watched the video clip over and over and over again. And I paused it and I sat down to say, this clip is sending me a message. And what is the message I'm trying to get from it? Because I love reading, I love writing. When I read things, I could just pick up a piece of paper and I could write a whole episode just from one particular sentence. So I sat down to just take from that particular video clip what it speaks to me most. And that part where it talked about making sure that you have something that keeps you out of, that keeps you awake, or that wants to get you out of bed in the morning. That is the greatest thing that you can actually do for yourself. And of recent, I've looked at several Instagram posts about people just dropping dead. And then that particular video clip just came to me and said, this life is too short for you not to want to live a life of purpose. So what have you been called to do? What have you been created to do? Whose life do you think you need to impact? The longer you wait to impact those lives, the farther it is that you are from who you are called to be. This is speaking to me, and I wanted to speak to my followers as well. So I shared it, and I did get a lot of people resonating with that particular quote, because I know I want to do greater things than I'm doing right now. I always wake up with so many ideas. I have a book of ideas. I tell my mom sometimes, my husband, like, the amount of ideas I have, I don't even think I've got the resources to be able to put them into action. It's like my head is spinning with things. And I know.
Tosin, I totally feel you, because that is how I am as well. I have the book sitting next to me is filled with ideas. And it really is a matter of getting strategic about how we implement and picking one thing and going. And it's so hard sometimes to hold back on just doing it all at once, but that you're not going to get the great result if you do that. So I'm grateful for people like you who have strategy and help people implement. And I think that's the beauty of having a business coach and people to help keep you accountable to completing what you start. For sure. And I love, again, your podcasts are like the new books, right? There's so many wonderful ways we can access helpful tidbits that can carry us through a new phase in our life. True. And one other thing I notice is I really love how you share the behind the scenes of what you're doing, and that it's not all sunshine and roses. And you come across, like, for instance, I see you right now. The listeners can't see you because we're on Zoom and this is a podcast. But you present so beautifully, you're dressed so lovely, and your hair is all done, and I'm in my yoga pants. And
thank you.
You really have a beautiful persona on your Instagram feed, for instance, and your Facebook page. Yet you also put in there that it took you X amount of tries to do a Facebook Live, or things don't just come rolling off. Like, you have to put the effort in. You have to be persistent. It seems like you got that persistence from a young age. Was that something learned from your family values, or was that something that you learned later on in life?
It's something I learned very early on, because I did go to a boarding school from very, very early on. From 9 years old, I think I was in boarding school. So I learned to be very, very independent quickly. So, and part of that is that I'm the last of 4 children. So I learned not to, if you are told to do something, find a way to do it. You do not give excuses. You can't tell my mom I can't. You can't tell my sisters I can't. You've got to do it. So you must come back with results. So I learned very early on to make sure you're top of the class, to make sure you get everything right. So they gave me no room for excuses. So if I have to work on something, I do it until I get the results I want. Otherwise, my mind stays on it. That's the way I'm programmed. I'm trying to change for right now. Until I get the result, my mind will not do something else. So I think that has really helped me with business as well. If I'm going through any challenge with work, or I find something a bit difficult, I don't mind staying up late to learn what it takes to find, I learned how to do accounting before I found an accountant. I learned how to do website design. I learned how to do video editing. I learned things because until I get to where I want to be, I've got to continue to learn and to improve on things.
That's amazing. And there's something about having that knowledge so that when you come to the place in your business where you can hire people on, you know exactly
what they
they
are
should be
doing.
doing. You understand the
Yeah.
process, and you have, even though you've handed off some responsibility, you still get it. And it really helps, especially when you're following up with how projects are going. I want to switch gears to
Mm.
family life. You
Yeah.
are a mom of 3 boys. And how old
Yeah.
are your boys?
The oldest is 9 years, and the second is 8, and the last one is 5.
Oh, that's lovely. I bet it's such a fun age for you to be able to start involving them in little parts of what you do. Do they watch? Do they help in their own small way? Like,
Oh,
what do they do around the
absolutely.
house?
I think I was at a friend's house yesterday, and unknowing to me, my son, because I had some week where I helped people to put some work into their business, how to start. I think I was doing email marketing training for some people. But my boy was at the background. It was actually recording me whilst I was doing it. I did not know. And then he showed me the video yesterday. I'm like, oh wow. So he knew mom was up to something, and then he had a recording, because usually I don't take videos and all of those things. And when I want to do my Facebook lives, I just tell them, boys, I'm going live now. I just need the whole place to be quiet, and they stay away for 2 hours, even 1 hour after I'm done with my live. They don't want to come around there because they know mom is doing something that she. So they are very, very helpful. And people say for boys, I have them good because they expect them to be. So I'm like, it's not me. For some reason, they've been good by themselves. I don't think I won't take credit for that. They are quite good, I must say. Very helpful. Now they've learned to do their breakfast by themselves, the 3 of them. They've learned to make lunch now.
That's awesome. Oh, yes. I am also a grateful mom of 2 boys, and they're incredibly helpful also. And don't you find it's interesting when they are watching you and they're cheering you on and they're excited for what you're doing, even though they're really focused on their own life and their own interests. But when they ask you, how's it going? And when they do give you that support by being quiet when they need to and helping out around the house, I really feel like it's a skill that it's easy to not want to get your kids involved with doing things like that too young, because you feel like, oh, I don't want to steal their childhood.
Expose them, exactly.
But I feel like it's learning those life skills are so helpful in building their self-esteem, and they feel like a part of a team.
Well.
Absolutely. Oh, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
And so, and it seems to me that we share a faith, and your faith is really, really important to you. And I love that you're very outward about sharing that, and in a very inclusive way. Is that something that you grew up with and you just carried with you? Or was there something where a personal experience happened where you really made your faith real?
I never used to be very deep in faith, but I found my footing after I came to the United Kingdom. And because I was working very close with my pastor in a former church. And from there, I learned, I think for like 10 years, I was like sort of like the personal assistant. So that helped me to really ground me in faith, because working closely with a pastor, you have to have certain behaviors and attitude expected of you. You'll be expected to read your Bible and everything. So that kind of helps me to shape how I see life now, and to really make sure that, everything I do now, I have to make sure that there's an impact of God in that.
Well, it really comes across beautifully in a very, again, open and inviting way, because everyone expresses their faith in different ways. There's so many different faith practices. And yet I believe the bottom line, it's about love. It's about inclusivity and serving well with the gifts that you have. And I believe that you are doing that so well. And I can't wait to keep following along your journey and for us to stay in touch about what's happening. I know we're planning to do an Instagram live once this podcast goes live, and I can't wait to hear what's been happening between now and then. Before we close off, I want to have you let people know, where can they find you to follow you? And also, do you have any offers or things that you're working on right now that you want to invite people to take a look at?
You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Tosin T Angel. I'm Tosin T Angel everywhere on Facebook, on Instagram, and I also upload videos on YouTube. It's still Tosin T Angel, so I've kept that name. And there's more of what I do on my website, www.tosintangel.com. So where I share more of all the things I do. At the moment, I do Facebook Lives every Friday, just to give more information to people that want business owners, entrepreneurs that want to start their business, about how they can find clarity and the steps they need to take to run a profitable and a successful business. I'm also very passionate about people that want to find out what their purpose is, for them to be able to use that, to impact their business or to actually start a business.
Excellent. Everyone can go see them at the show notes that will be attached below the episode of this podcast. It's been beautiful finally touching base with you, actually having a conversation. I look forward to more of it. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and we will be talking to you again real soon.
All right. Thank you, Sheila, for having me. I'm truly grateful.
Thank you so much for being here with me on the Connect podcast. If you like this episode, please share it with someone you think would enjoy it. Also, if you head over to iTunes to leave a review, I'd be so grateful. Let us know what your favorite parts were and what you'd like to hear more of. It will help us have a greater impact, elevating many more people to grow and succeed together. See you next time.